members. My name is Reagan Toby. I'm currently in Miss.
Is it on?
That microphone only goes to the online. It's not synced to any speaker.
Dear board and community members, my name is Reagan Toby. I'm currently in Mr. Kramer's third grade class. A few weeks ago, while I was eating salami at lunch, I began choking. It was a scary moment. Miss Kayla was there to help. She had performed the Heimlich to help me get the salami out. I'm very thankful for her help.
Lunch duty life right here in this cafeteria when this thanks. So
Yes, thank you. That's cool.
safety is a really big responsibility, and we're working hard to support our kids. On Saturday, February 15th, we celebrated National SRO Day, and we wanted to introduce and thank Officer Wolf for everything she does to keep our kids and community safe. So come on up, Officer Wolf, if we could give her a round of applause. You all start. I'm here. Love it. You all have amazing kids here. At work at Lanesville. So you guys were very welcoming, and I appreciate it. And obviously, safety is number one, but also very close to that, if not right there with it, is building relationships with these kids. They are awesome. And I want to give another shout out to Miss Kaylin because I was right. I was facing the other way. I completely missed it, so she actually saved the day in that situation. She was really, so I love it. Anyway, thank you. Next, we have Addison Winslow from Mrs. Smith's class to share about the Read to Feed Harrison County Winter Reading Program.
In January, Winslow Elementary participated in the 2025 Winter Reading Program. Class, Mrs. Smith's third grade class read 608 books to help reach the goal. When my class learned about this event, we knew we had to read many, many books. I would like to share some of the books I read, one of the major books I read was Writing Freedom. It was a story about a girl whose parents died in a car crash. Horses came and protected her. Soon she was at an orphanage. This happened in the 1800s, so women didn't have rights yet. So she escaped from the orphanage and pretended to be a boy so she would have rights. The rest of the books were mostly informational, and I survived the books. We worked very hard to read 600 books, but I was the only one who participated. My whole class did, and I'm very grateful for a class that works very hard, is great at teamwork, and very, very smart. Thank you.
Thanks to Addison and her classmates and other students in Harrison County, 15,255 books were read in the month of January. So Harrison County Community Services will receive $2,950 in donations from companies such as Lucas Oil, Duke, Caesars, Vickert Supply, and Duke Energy. Wait for Mrs. Smith class. Thank you for sharing. And we have one more student to celebrate tonight. Our last student is Avery Ripperdan, who turned her Girl Scout project into a gift for our school.
My name is Avery Ripperdan, and I am currently a sixth grader at Lincoln. Last year, I completed my Girl Scout Bond Award, which is the highest award a Girl Scout junior can earn. To earn the award, the Girl Scout must identify a community issue, research the issue, come up with a solution, and work with the community to make a plan that brings the solution to life. 1. Identify a community issue. When I think about my community, I think about my school, Plainsville Elementary. When I started here, I was out of state, so I didn't know anyone when I went to school that first day. While I quickly made friends, I am always reminded of how it felt to be the new kid when students join our school. As I have gotten older, I have also seen bullying incidents increase. I decided to make my project around helping our school be a welcoming and inclusive place for all of our students and to help decrease bullying events at our school. 2. Research the issue. During my research, I learned from a report from the WRTV in Indianapolis that there was a 41% increase in bullying incidents during the 2023-2024 school year. I also learned from an article in U.S. News and World Report that students are one of the most powerful helpers in bullying situations. They often know about it before adults. Also, a student telling a peer to stop bullying usually has more impact on the situation than an adult giving the same advice. In the past 2 years, we have had assemblies from Look Out for the Left Out to encourage us to notice when kids are left out, isolated, or need assistance. When I started looking for ways to help our school reduce bullying and become a more inclusive place, I discovered buddy benches. Buddy benches are benches placed in a common area, such as a playground, that are specifically designated for kids to sit on if they are lonely, like to play a different game than their friend group, or need support from other kids. Students are taught that if they notice someone sitting on that bench, that kid is signaling that they need a friend. Buddy benches have shown a reduced loneliness and bullying and increasing empathy. According to a study by Griffin published in the International Electronic Journal of Elementary Education, 5 out of 6 schools studied with a buddy bench program reported fewer bad experiences and feelings of being left out after the buddy bench was installed. Number 3, come up with a solution. Based on this research, I felt that a buddy bench was a great way for our school to begin looking for the left out. With the help of my mom, I looked for a bench that I could put together myself and would be able to be painted with quotes and images that would make the bench stand out as a buddy bench. I collected donations for the bench and supplies needed to customize and weatherproof the bench so that there would be no cost to the school and it would last for years to come. I searched images of other buddy benches that people have made and found some ideas I wanted to use. I looked for quotes I liked to paint on the back of the bench and decided to use smiley face as the main design for the bench seat. Number 4, work with my community to make a plan to bring the solution to life. Once I had my routine in place, I contacted Ms. Dye as head of the student council and Dr. Apple as superintendent to see if I would be able to implement my project at LES. Both were immediately on board and I was able to purchase, build, and customize my buddy. I have brought the bench with me today and I officially present it to LES to be placed on the playground. The bench is used to open the eyes of our students to other students' feelings and to make our school even better. Thank you. And if you need some Girl Scout cookies, I know.
Way to go, Avery. Lanesville Elementary has so much to celebrate. Thanks for letting our speakers. If we can give them another round of applause. Thank you, young lady.
That's why we're here. All of us are here. And that's what this community is about. That is super special. I'm proud of that young lady. Again.
Eric?
Thank you. I'll start off, I guess, by saying we had the girls sectional fell to a very tough South Knox team at regionals this past weekend. I want to say thank you to the Hintons for coaching. And I want to say especially thank you to the girls because they are really just fun to watch. The energy in that court was always there. They were always playing to win. It was awesome. So thank them all for that. This week is FFA week. We have a couple of things that we had planned. Some snow got in the way of that today. I'm not sure about the rest of the week, but we will probably bump some of our activities for that later this week. We also have Margot Stewart is running our District 11 competition this year. This is a huge undertaking, and it's basically all of the schools from our district. And I think there's 20 something schools are invited to come down here and participate in a competition amongst other FFA members. So our school is going to be used for the first time, I believe, ever to host that event. And so that's going to be a major undertaking. And Margot Stewart has done an amazing job. We've talked plans, we've talked timelines, we've talked the schedule. I feel confident that it's going to be an excellent, outstanding event. Our FFA breakfast that was set for Thursday the 20th has been moved to next Tuesday the 25th. It's a 50-cent breakfast. If you come down, get some pancakes and sausage and eggs. That event was supposed to be the 20th. It has been moved to next Tuesday, a week from today, the 25th. I want to thank Mary Simcoe for the all senior night. She put together so much work. I mean, watching her in the office, just work and work, putting programs together, getting parents' names on cards for me to read. She did an outstanding job, and I just want to make sure she gets recognized for that because I know that was a lot of work. And finally, I have a special guest here, a couple guests actually. Joshua Oberdick qualified for state for his solo and ensemble competition. He was playing a Group 1 piece of music. And for those of you that you don't know, Group 1 is one of the hardest pieces of music that you can compete with. This is like professional level music stuff. And to have somebody qualify for state at that level is an enormous feat. And so I want to give him recognition for that. I've invited him to play tonight for the board and for everyone here. And he's being accompanied by a friend of mine, Gary Pope, who has been a teacher, a drama coach, a choir coach, worn many hats, a school administrator at one point. And so he is going to be playing the keyboard. And Joshua is going to be playing a piece called Midnight Euphonium, which was originally written by a man named Goff Richards. I will yield the rest of my time to Mr. Oberdick and Mr. Pope. And after they get done, good luck in March. March 1st, I believe, is when state is. So are you ready? Okay. So good luck to you all, and thank you all, board, and thank you, community.
Very good.
Yes, good
Yeah,
luck.
good luck.
Okay, the next item is the superintendent's report.
One thing I would like to do before we get too far into it, tomorrow there will be, we're the last ones, but tomorrow will be a synchronous learning day. It's been in meetings since 4:30. Haven't had a chance to get on and call it yet. You guys are the first to know, so know that that's coming as soon as we get done here. Next Monday, the 24th, right here at 6 o'clock, I will have another community meeting. That will be solely for after we've been through one. I want to hear some thoughts from community members. And so literally you'll come in. If you want to speak, you put your name down on a list. When you come in, though, I'd also like, as people come in, to write down their name and their address. You can, if you're a married couple, Mr. and Mrs. John, Wilson or whatever. But put that in your address down, and maybe a phone number and an email address if you got it, so I can reach out to you for some questions. But I would like to hear both pros and cons of potentially a new facility for Lanesville Community Schools. I'd like to do this several times throughout this process, just so I know where the public is and we can hear from each other. And so know that will be next Monday, February the 24th at 6 o'clock here in the cafeteria. There is a student that I'd like to recognize right now. That he's not here, but hopefully we'll get him in when he gets back. We have a high school student, Brandon Rogers, who through Prosser and his Prosser program is getting to go to Washington, D.C. His group created an app through Prosser, and it is called Road of Honor, and Representative Houchin will meet with them in Washington, D.C., and so that's really fantastic, and I'm hoping that we can get him here when they return to kind of give us a rundown of the project, of what it was like going to Washington, D.C. to present this and do various things like that. So I'm excited and anxious to hear about that.
I add one thing to that.
Yep.
There were over 12,682 students that applied for this app program. So he won. His group won out of all of those people that were competing. So this is a
big deal.
enormous deal. I was going to mention that this evening, but I had taken it out because I wanted to save us time. But maybe invite them in. But it is a big deal to have that award. So.
One other thing I was planning on, but moving it to March. There are two people that I would like to recognize, and one of them sitting back there today. The other, Mr. Bob Schickel and his family, as well. To Mr. Chip White back there for all their contributions. There are some special projects that I would like for the board's permission on. We were going to do that today. Mr. Schickel couldn't be here, so I moved them both back to March because I think it's important that they go together. The Schickel family and Mr. White, long before I ever came to Lanesville, have given so much time and energy, just like Coach Reinhardt has, but in different capacities. That was Mr. Reinhardt's job, and he put everything into it. Mr. Schickel and Mr. White, they were not employees of the school corporation. They have impacted the lives of so many people without recognition, without wanting any recognition. But know that in March I will ask for a few things, but I want to do them together. Mr. Schickel said he could not be here, so I will move that to March. But I did see Mr. White back there, and I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that tonight, but know that is coming in March. One thing that will be later on in your agenda, and I've had a few questions about it, and so I'd like to. We've had several conversations at board meetings about policies, and I'd like to kind of talk a little bit about that to give a rundown of what that looks like. What I've got sitting here in front of me, this was our Lanesville School Policy Manual. A lot of them were outdated from 2008, 2009, some before. I don't even know that you can type like that anymore. We had some issues recently where either through audits or through complaints of Office of the Civil Rights, where we were defending teachers, working on behalf of teachers, we sorely were out of compliance on a lot of policies and didn't have a whole lot of policies. We have been working with a company called Neola. Neola does the policy management, writing and overseeing for over 200 school corporations in the state of Indiana, which is over 2/3 of the school corporations. You hear us here when we talk about data, when we talk about school performance or whatever it is, there's always a group of 20 school corporations that we talk about, and that's all of Perry County, Harrison County, Floyd County, Clark County, Scott County, Washington, Orange, and Crawford. So there are, including Lanesville, 20 school corporations in that area that we always compare ourselves to. We were the last school corporation to utilize Neola. Everybody else has utilized Neola for years. What Neola does is they come in and they sit down and they go through policies, and they'll start, now that they're being approved, be uploaded on board docs. Every other school corporation, you can go see the exact same policies on their board doc sites. It just takes a while. We had some old policies on board docs, and board docs is just the platform, but you had to take all of those off so you didn't get crossovers and mix-ups. So now that they're approved, the 0s, 1s, 2s, after the night, hopefully the 3s and 4s, in the next weeks, months, they'll start uploading those on board docs, and so you can see them. You will be able to, like I said, if you want to look at South Harrison, for example, exact same policies, word for word. New Albany, Floyd, every once in a while you might find a little tweak here or there, but over 2/3 of the corporations in Indiana have the exact same policies. And what they do, what the service is, and again, we've talked about it at board meetings in the past, but over the last couple of weeks, I've had some questions, so I wanted to make sure that I addressed it. They have a group of attorneys, and what they do is they watch legislative sessions like we're going through now twice a year. Anything that needs updated based off of federal law or state law, and then sometimes county law, they watch all of that and you meet with them and you go through and you make the updates, and you don't get to situations like we had in the past where laws change and you don't update policies or you don't have policies to cover things. And so that is what they do. But we started back on this in October of 2023, whenever we realized that we were woefully underrepresented on our policies and not protecting ourselves. And I appreciate, I've had a few of you reach out to me over the last week or two. All questions I appreciate, because when you don't do this for a living, a lot of those policies don't make sense sometimes, or you ask and you need some clarification. So I've got no issues with that at all. Anybody ever has a question about them, reach out to me. I know one thing that kind of came up is people say, oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to tutor anymore. How people can't tutor. Nothing about that says anything that you can't tutor. And it literally is the same policy that everybody around us has. We can tutor. We've even got in our master contract that teachers can make $50 an hour when they're approved to tutor through the school corporation, which I think is a lot better than charging parents directly, charging parents for their kids to be tutored when we as a school corporation could pay for it. But any of those policies, there are some conflict of interest policies. I've been asked about that once or twice. It is unethical for you as a teacher, if you give a grade to direct or to get money directly from a parent for tutoring, that can very easily be conceived as being paid to give grades. That's why we as the school corporation have that worked into the contract, that we will pay $50 an hour for you to tutor kids. There's no reason that you can't tutor kids outside of school, if you so choose. If you don't want to do it through the school corporation, no issue. If you want to continue to use our facilities, you'd have to do an LLC because of liability reasons, because it's a large liability if you've got kids. If you're not working under our umbrella at that point in time and you're doing it on your own, at that point in time, you're an independent contractor. And so you don't fall under our liability. And so if somebody gets hurt or heaven forbid something worse, that causes some issues. And so really what it is, when you have policies, and you see we had very few, and that's just about half of what will come through, they are designed to protect staff members, to protect the school corporation, to protect students, all of those things. I've got no issues at all going through any questions anybody has. But the policies that are being proposed are, in most cases, exactly word for word, like 2/3 of the state of Indiana. They've been vetted that way. They've been ran through Neola that way. They're written that way to be in compliance with the law. They're written that way for liability reasons, both for staff members, students, and the corporation. It is something that we sorely needed. And like I said, those 20 school corporations, every last one of them use them. I had somebody ask me for policies even beyond the first reading. I can't give those to you until they're okayed for first reading and the board gets them, but I've got no issue once I give them that to go around and give them to whoever wants them. What I will tell you and what I told them is if you want to, you can get on South Harrison's website or New Albany Floyd's website or North Harrison or Scott 2 or anybody, and you can go through line item by line item, and those are there. And so know that that's kind of what's coming, because those are the standard policies. And so if you want to look and see, okay, so we know that the 4s and the 5s are coming, or 4,000s, 5,000. What do the 6,000s and 7,000s hold? You can get on those websites because they've all done this process years ago. Be almost identical policies, if not the exact same policies. And so you can see them there. And that way, if you want to look ahead and you have questions, there's no issue, and I'll answer anything you've got. I have spent 4 different sessions of either 4 or 5 hours going through with Neola, going through the policies, crafting them. Myself and 2 retired superintendents who work for Neola went through and did that. But it is policy that is crafted by their attorneys, and they are educational attorneys. And so that is what they do for a living. So just kind of a rundown of what Neola is and how that came about. Again, all the policies, nothing is outlandish. It is policy that is used throughout the state of Indiana by more than 2/3 of school corporations, the exact same policies. And so if there are any questions, please send them to me. The last thing that anybody needs to do is to get on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and stir pots that don't need to be stirred. I've got no issues answering any questions, but they are common policies that are in most schools in the state of Indiana, and really 203 they say, but I know it's at least 204 because Perry Central wasn't on the list, but when you get on Perry Central's websites, all of their policies are Neola policies. And so I don't know if they didn't renew their contract. I don't know why they're not on there, but they are Neola policies. But just wanted to pass that information along as well. We talked about board even December 17th, that board meeting. We talked about Neola. That was the latest, but for over a year, we were working, trying to get this going with them, doing the legwork, doing those things. And they are standard policies used across the state of Indiana. And they are designed to support school corporations, to support staff members, and to support students. And everything meets Indiana code or any federal law that would dictate in certain circumstances. And it lists on there what Indiana code that it references. That is all, sir, that I have.
Okay. The next up is the PTSO report.
Our February update. So we had an amazing turnout at the first elementary spirit night. We were in the gym, the high school gym. Lots of people there. Students and fans enjoyed the festivities. We are already looking at possibly doing an elementary night next year during the 5th and 6th grade girls season to kind of balance things out and give everybody the fun. Last week, we had our second annual paint night. Still not painting at our house, just painting on canvases.
I was wondering.
I know.
Okay, I'm waiting. I have some stuff for you.
I think that everybody who had attended had fun. Those who were unable to attend but had RSVP'd, they were able to pick up their canvases in the office. And I saw that every one of those canvases has been picked up. So yay us. Updates. Let's see. Our next up events include Donut with a Grown Up on March 8th. That's from 9:30 to 11 in the high school gym. That's a free event. So that's a community supported event, free of charge to all parents, students, grandparents, and everyone else who wants to come. Helpers. We like helpers. The Spring Carnival and Silent Auction is coming up on Friday, April 4th. Lots of donations coming in, lots of plans being made. It is growing from last year. We already have some outside vendors and food trucks who have confirmed that they will be here. So make sure to come and take part in that.
You said that was April 4th?
April 4th, yes. It's a Friday night. Spring Carnival, Silent Auction. The next PTSO meeting will be Wednesday, March 5th at 6 p.m. in the library. This is a meeting where anyone interested in running for board positions should speak up and let us know. We do, as of this evening, have two board positions that will be open next year. I myself am stepping away as president, and Kara Robinson as vice president will be stepping away. We have some other responsibilities going on in our lives, and my kiddo is a senior, so it's my turn to take and enjoy those events. That's all.
What's the donut date again?
March 8th.
March 8th.
It's a Saturday morning from 9:30 to 11. And that's in the high school gym. Questions? Okay, thank you.
Jim.
Okay, the next is public comments related to agenda items only. As this public participation at meetings will be in place, it says you have to state your name and address, and then also the agenda items to be addressed. The first on the list is Liz Beamer.
I've given this is the third time I've given this speech, and I assure you it's on the agenda, PTSO. This is the short version, so I've got to get rid of it. It might be choppy, and I don't have the niceties. Anyway, but I want to assure you it's on the agenda. Okay, let me go through my notes. School board. Oh, and by the way, this
Ms.
is
Beamer, what's your address, please?
4661 Crandall, Lanesville Road, Northeast, Corydon. Anyway, this is the only school board in the county that has agenda only, in case you're interested in that. I apologize. I had all these niceties, but first of all, I want to show you there was a presidential EO. It basically says focus on education, not on activism, and noncompliance will lose state and federal funding. Okay, also, parents' rights bill by Indiana State. I have a copy in my bag there. Also, Todd Rikita has Eyes on Education. This is for parents. If you have something in your school, that take a picture. I can do this. I'm a boomer. I'm a great grandma. I can do this. Okay. So they have a thing, and I can't think of what the name of it is at the moment. Take a picture, put a description, in case you have something objectable, or something you don't like in the curriculum, pictures, whatever. Okay.
Ms. Beamer, what agenda item does this go with?
PTSO.
This
Okay.
goes with fundraising through PTSO and those?
No, sir. It's PTSO. Okay.
This, Ms. Beamer, this is not PTSO.
No,
agenda.
Okay. With all due respect.
PTSO is the parent teacher
I know
student
what it is.
organization. This does not go with that.
Well,
So if it is not that, we would have to ask you to please cease.
All right, that's fine. And now I have contact. Today was a special day. You're the only one who ever writes me back. And today I had a pleasant surprise of 2 people actually talking to me from the school. Normally, I call the school, I get hung up on. And when I have called each and every one of these board members, I do not get a call back. So anyway, what I'll do is I will contact AG Rikita, and your federal funding and state funding is on the line. So thank you so much.
Ms. Beamer,
and
before you
here's my
wait,
card. Excuse me.
Ms. Beamer,
Here's my-
before you sit down, is your phone number
Yes, ma'am.
219-713-9717?
Yes.
I returned your call today.
Yeah, I just said that, ma'am. This is
Okay.
the first time that's happened.
Okay.
So I will leave my card. So if you're interested, I will be more than happy to talk to you. But I have tried to contact you all. I have tried to contact people. Once again, I get hung up on, or in the past, I have gotten very rude responses. And unfortunately, I was very rude to principal because I was very upset. I actually came down to the school. I called first. I was hung up on, came down. I was upset. And by the way, it is rude when someone's talking to look at your phone. Just
See if
so
I
you
get a
know.
call from you.
Okay.
So I do apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Beamer.
all for your
Thank you.
time.
Sit down. Thank you.
Next up is Chip White.
I didn't get any.
Yep.
No, you don't.
No.
We can hear you.
Go ahead.
We can
Chip.
hear you.
We got you.
On the way up Chip White, 2149 Green Hill Drive, Lanesville, Indiana. Phone number 812-7.
You don't need phone number. Okay.
I've been coming around this school for over 50 years. And my wife was a kindergarten teacher here for 38 years. She's upset and I'm upset. And that's why I'm here talking. She gave me the green light tonight, Dr. Apple.
What agenda item?
The agenda is, first of all, the tutoring. We couldn't hear a word you said. So I'd like for the board and you all to get a PA system put in here so we can hear, because you're getting a large attendance coming to the meetings. They're concerned, and that means there's issues. So anyway, that's the first thing, tutoring. The next thing is we'd like to know why, the teachers can't talk to the school board and the school board can't talk to the teachers. That's
And-
very important.
Yeah, and I know what you are referring to, what policy, and same policy everybody's got.
Yeah.
And that's not what it is. If you read through the whole thing, what it does, and then you get down to C, and it talks about normal conversation. It also talks about being able to have grievances with proper steps. We already have that policy in place, the chain of command. And so that's where that invokes it. Doesn't say that you can't talk to them, but you have to go through the proper channels. It's a policy that was
So they have
already
to go
in place.
through you first.
For that, yes. It depends
Before
on
they
what
can
it is.
talk
It
to
would
the
go
school
through
board.
them, then it would come through me, the school board. The
But if
reason
you don't, excuse me, if you don't prove it, then they can't talk to the school board.
They can,
No.
you can
No.
appeal to the school board.
Yeah.
Do I?
You would start at the teacher, then go to principal, then superintendent, and then school board. You
No,
can
I'm
appeal
saying,
it to the school
I'm
board.
talking on behalf of the teachers right
And here's what it stops, and here's what it does. It stops and it promotes unity here and there, because what that policy does is it prevents, which we've had and other places have had, where you single a school board member out and people come up to them in public and want to talk about whatever this issue is at a ball game or at whatever it might be. On the same wavelength, it stops board members. If you read A, B, and C, it stops board members then from micromanaging teachers or administrators. And so then they can't just say, if Mr. Lind wants to send something to his classroom teacher, his kid, stop him from, in his official capacity, not as a concerned parent, but in his official capacity, say, I am board president, you will do this. It promotes the board as one, not individual members. And if you go down to C, then it talks about the normal activities. You can talk about different things. You can do all this and that and the other. If it's a major grievance, then it goes back to going through the proper channels. So if you read that policy, it's the same policy everybody else has. It goes through all that. And it talks about the proper way to do it. Nothing in it ever says they cannot talk to them. But those things need to go through the proper channels, which anytime you go to the school board, comes through the superintendent to the school board or the school board to the superintendent. That's the way that it works, and that's the
But
way
what
that
if
it's
you
written.
deny them?
He's not good.
You'll never deny them?
Mhm.
I don't have my glasses with me.
And remember, you've
I'm
got
gonna have
3
a pair.
minutes.
Yeah, I know. You done took 2.5.
Here.
That is true. I will give you a little bit of leeway on it.
Okay.
Chip, I think,
Just don't get
this
you.
is a small town.
It's-
You and Tim are going to
Yeah.
be sitting beside each other in basketball games. You're going to be talking.
Talk all the time.
I think the heart of the purpose of that policy is to prevent the purpose of that provision is to prevent piecemeal policy. Well, board member Bridges told me I can do this, and board member Lind is demanding I do this. It's just to create. It's just a policy decision goes through a point person.
I understand what you're saying, but Bridges and I don't talk about that. Usually he can't sit long enough.
Well,
This is true.
point.
Okay.
Okay, I get it.
These items that you're all going to vote on tonight, I think you need to table it and really go through it before you decide, because there's a lot of things there that need to be looked into a little deeper. Now, this is a close-knit community. It's a close-knit school. We need to keep it that way, but right now it's not like that. So, and we're looking at building, but we've got to have the community behind us to be able to build. Thank you.
Next up is Terry Wills. Terry.
Terry.
Terry Wills.
Terry Wills.
My name is Terry Wills. My address is 7655 Main Street in Lanesville. If you don't know me by now, I usually have a 12-foot skeleton up near my house. I'm right across from the mental health park. I also dress as Sassy Marshmallow, the outfit for Christmas for the school kids, because they love it. Plus, I do too. Don't even worry about that. I was at this is on the, I don't know the exact number. I didn't bring it up with me. The salary for the superintendent, I believe, is on the agenda. Is it not?
It is not.
That was approved last month.
Last month.
See, I read the wrong one. So never mind. That's my bad.
It's okay.
But he talked about it at the building meeting the other night. That's why I was going to speak about it tonight. So sorry about that. It's on the wrong agenda.
It's okay.
Okay, next up is Africa Garlock.
Well, don't even, because I'm not even there.
How many we got?
A lot.
Yeah. My name is Athka Suzanne Leaker Garlock. My home address is 7537 Tandy Road, Lanesville, Indiana, but I spend 60 hours a week here at 2725 Crestview Avenue, Lanesville, Indiana. My extension here at school is 108. I'm a proud alumnus of Lanesville. I graduated salutatorian in 2005, just a couple years behind Ryan. Tim Bridges was my principal. Sharon Rothrock was my English teacher. I currently teach Lynn's son, Jack, and I've previously taught Tara's daughter, Madeline. I'm so sorry, Madeline. That's not on you. That's on me and my nerves. I'm currently a teacher here, and I've been teaching here for the last decade, teaching 10th grade English, AP Lang, and AP Literature and Composition. I have 2 little eagles on the elementary side as well, and I've always told them to not let fear get in the way of standing up for what is right, and that's what I'm doing right now. I would like to announce that following are my own views, and in my capacity as a building representative for the Lanesville Education Association, representative of the fine educators who've tasked me to speak on their behalf as well, and over 90% of our teachers are members of the LEA. Lanesville Community Schools are in the process of adopting dozens of new board policies. The LEA understands the necessity of these policies as the corporation was sorely lacking before, leaving it open to potential litigation, as Dr. Apple has said. However, we are worried that these policies are being rushed through and due consideration is not being given. In particular, we are deeply concerned with several of the policies brought forth in the 3000 section, as these deal with certified employees, our members, and your children's teachers. In case I run out of time, I have made copies, highlighted and annotated specific policies 3112, 3220, 33110, and 3430.01. The purple annotations mark where South Harrison deviates from the Lanesville policy because it happens quite often. Policy 3112 requires all communications to and from the board and staff go through the superintendent. I have been told by Dr. Apple this is a very common policy. While it is true New Albany Floyd has said policy, it's important to note both South Harrison and East Washington, smaller corporations, do not. New Albany Floyd Central also has the administration team 10 times larger than our own. While such a structure as theirs allows for a pyramid of accountability, ours is a straight line. If one person does not feel it necessary to pass on communication, communication will not be passed. We have had prior incidents under past superintendents neglecting to inform the board on serious issues involving personnel, finances, and even student welfare. Communication should always be encouraged and not prohibited, especially in a democratic republic such as ours. Policy 3220.02 allows the superintendent to issue a supplemental payment in excess of the salary specified in the corporation's compensation plan to any teacher at the discretion of the superintendent. New Albany Floyd County does not have this policy at all. South Harrison elected option 2, which specifies which role is allowed to have a supplemental pay and why. Our current teacher contract already has an allowance for the superintendent to raise a teacher's salary up 2 steps ahead of normal if said prospective employee is in a hard-to-obtain position, such as a STEM teacher or special education. This policy is not needed and, again, unfortunately gives the superintendent too much power. Policy 33110 seeks to limit the freedom of speech of employees outside the instructional setting. All 6 possible limits are currently checked, which would keep employees from being able to discuss their own coworkers and even raise any issue that could possibly disrupt harmony. Harmony is nice, but that's not my job. My job is to keep your children safe and provide them the highest quality of education possible. Sometimes that means confronting issues that are unpleasant, such as this one, and dare I say, discordant. I hope the board revises this policy to only include the limits that would protect student and teacher physical safety, such as limits D, E, and F. You will also notice in purple the wording that South Harrison has changed, and I've starred policies that they've eliminated. Finally, policy 3430.01 is the Family Medical Leave Act policy. Currently, employees are able to take their accrued paid time off before they claim FMLA, a federal leave policy that allows employees 12 unpaid weeks off without losing their insurance or job, 26 weeks if, like me, you care for a member of the armed services. My husband is a veteran. The new wording of this policy states that employees must take these simultaneously. The option exists for the wording to be that the employee may elect to use them simultaneously, but unfortunately that option is not checked. However, both New Albany and South Harrison use this permissional wording. I'm stating these to have you guys take a closer look. These policies do need to be checked. I would recommend printing them off and also doing a close comparison with corporations you see us as comfortable to. We are Lanesville Community Schools. We are a community. That is what we are based on. We are not based on refusing our teachers the support they desperately need and giving people unchecked power. Thank you.
I just want to comment on the first thing that she has highlighted. She did not highlight, it says this procedure is not intended to deny any staff member the right to appeal to the board on important matters through established procedures. So that's the very first thing. She highlighted the first sentence, but not the second sentence. Tara Dye is next.
Yeah, at the 3 minutes. Yeah, don't start till I start talking.
Yeah, let him start talking.
My name's Tara. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm not good at public speaking, so we'll see how this goes. Item number 14. I live here, like Afka said, most of the time, but when I'm not here, 1321 Lazy Creek Court in Lanesville. I guess before we get started on my speech, since it is, I really would like to focus on 3112. My biggest question, going off of what Ryan just mentioned, are what are the established procedures? Because on the policy that I was given or that I read, those procedures were not specified anywhere. So that may help us a lot in this topic here tonight. So I'll just go with what I've written and then we can go from there. So like I said, my name's Tara. I take a personal and unique interest in policy number 3112. Not only am I a staff member of the corporation, but I also have children on both sides of the building. And I'm a resident that can say I proudly voted for all of the members on our panel tonight. Two of the most important aspects of teaching are communication and collaboration. They are vital to the success of our students. They are also vital to the success of our school corporation and should be encouraged between the school board and our staff members. Policy number 3112 states that, and I quote, "The school board desires to maintain open channels of communication between itself and the staff." However, this is completely contradicted when it then states that quote, "basic line of communication will be through the superintendent." Now, as we just mentioned a minute ago, there might be policies and procedures that we have not, that haven't been shared with us yet as far as that specific line of communication. But as I continue, that would be something I would encourage you guys to look over before that policy is passed, so that can be specifically put in writing with that procedure or with that policy. My door and those of my colleagues are always open and wish to remain that way. We are ready and eager to invite you, the members of our school board, to visit our classrooms and see all of the things that are happening in this building on a daily basis. Join us in conversations about ways we can improve the experience of learning for our students. These are not just our students, many are our family members and our closest friends. Nearly half of our staff take pride in sending our children to Lanesville schools. What would this policy mean for the staff members that may at some point need to advocate for their own child? Should we not have the same open line of communication with the board that our friends and neighbors do? What makes Lanesville different from other corporations is our small town familial atmosphere. We see it when our high schoolers mentor our littles, when board members come to lead read-alouds or to assist in projects like the Genetic Disease Project and FFA activities. How would this policy affect you and your ability to volunteer in our classrooms if you are not able to advocate for your child in a way that you might need to? This is something that should be adjusted and spelled out specifically and clearly in policy number 3112 if it were to be passed. One final point that I'd like to make in regards to this policy is that while the majority of our neighboring schools have implemented this same or similar policies, I did find, as Afka mentioned, that they have also altered various policies to fit their needs. I don't see why we cannot do the same. I would strongly urge and encourage you to consider removing policy number 3112 from being passed, just like our friends at South Harrison have. Thank you.
Next up is Doug Burbank.
My name's Doug Burbank, 585 Martin John Road. It's going to sound like Groundhog's Day a little bit, but first I want to start and say congratulations to the board members. I have been a board member at St. John's Lutheran School, crafted policies. It's a hard job, sometimes thankless. I was involved in developing policies and procedures for St. John's, as well as adopting policies from the service organization, just like you are looking at tonight. However, what I've learned through that process is it's a cookie cutter. All the policies don't fit in every school corporation. It has to be tailored and made to each school corporation. It's a good outline, but I would encourage you to maybe tailor make it to the Lanesville Community Schools. Just in the 3,000 and 4,000 policies, that's 221 pages long. I printed it, had to go buy new ink today. I can't imagine. I don't have the zeros, the 100s, the 200s. We're looking at the first reading of 500, 5,000, 6,000 series. I can't even imagine being a board member, have to go through 1,000 sheets of paper for board policies. I mean, it just seems astronomical. I would challenge any one of you if I'd say, what's policy number 4132? Could you recite it to me and know what it is? It seems to be a lot. The other thing I think is it seems like we're rushing this through quite a bit, because I started through the 221 pages a day and I'm retired. I don't have a full-time job. It's a task. I think it's fair only for the community to know, the staff, the teachers, everyone should know what these policies are before they're passed so that they can have input and hopefully structure the policies. The thing that I found a little bit out of sort was the 3112, which is the communication piece that we've already talked about a little bit about. I worked for a large corporation in the state of Indiana for 43 years. I knew the board of directors personally. I knew the CEO. If Dr. Apple is the CEO and you're the board of directors, we had always open line communication. There was never threat of my job. There was never, it was encouraged. It was fostered to have good communication between the board, staff, teachers, parents, whomever. That policy to me sounds like we have to go through the CEO before we can get to the board. That's the way I read it. I think that's the intention of it. The other policy that I would bring up would be 3214, which is staff gifts. The school board discourages the presentation of gifts to professional staff members by students and their parents because it could embarrass students with limited means and gives the parents of currying favor. If this policy of the board that no professional staff members should expect or accept gifts for carrying out the terms of his or her teaching contract. Kids come at Christmas time. I have a grandson that goes here. He has to give 25 gifts because every teacher he's ever had, he's got to give them something. And I hope that that is not what the intent of that is. I do read down below vendor gifts. I understand the vendor gifts and all that type of thing. But I hope that that can continue because kids and teachers, that's the only way kids can thank their teachers And my little grandson, he just loves to give gifts. And I hope that that doesn't stop. I think the teachers need the appreciation. And so I'd hope that you would relook at that policy as well. Thank you.
32, 42, 14,
Okay, next up is Lacey Glites. Somebody sign you in. Okay. Next up is Caleb Dotson.
What I'm doing. 2360 Ridgecrest Drive, Northeast. Is that everything?
So I would like to address the board and ask a couple of questions, and obviously you can feel free to answer me or not answer me. That's your prerogative. Just for transparency's sake, because honestly, this process kind of sucks because there's not a lot of communication from you guys and with the community, right? I hear the community reading something one way, you're reading it another way. There doesn't seem to be, I haven't heard anything out of you guys. One, can the five of you tell me you've read it and you understand it?
Yeah.
The next thing would be, would you be willing to share with the community what grievances you may have had, what compromises you were willing to make prior to this meeting before you vote? No.
I look at this part about communication. To me, I think we're taking it way too serious for me. Okay, way too serious. Way too serious. I'm looking at communication. Listen, I talk to you guys all the time. That's why I got on here. Feel free to talk to me anytime. There's certain things I won't be able to talk to you about, and I'll tell you that. Okay, I can't. Okay, and so that's an understanding that we'll have. You want to talk to me about some issue? Okay, that's fine. I'll listen to you. I won't have an answer maybe right away. I might have an answer for you, but sometimes I have to defer to the superintendent, and I've done that with some of you before. There's an issue or whatever we had. I said, there's the superintendent right there. Go talk to him. Okay, communication is the key. I'm not disagreeing. I agree with you, and I think it's interpretation is what this is. Okay, to me, I think everybody on this board is willing to listen to whatever you have to say. I don't have a problem with that. We might agree, we might disagree. I might tell you what we have to do, and you might say, I don't like it. I said, but that's what we have to do. I didn't say that you like it, but that's the way it is. We have that open line that we're okay. I mean, you might not like it, but sometimes you might like it, you know? And sometimes I'm going to say, I can't talk to you about that. That's just something we can't talk about right now. There will be a time when I can, but then when that time comes, I'll explain it to you. Sometimes I'll have to have more information myself because I'm new. This is another role for me, okay? I'm a fixer. I can't always fix stuff, okay? So I have to play that role a little bit different. So I'm learning my role. These guys have been on there a while. They know how this works, but not one of these people right here are not willing to talk to you, okay? And I know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the point.
Yeah.
A point is that if you come to a board member and say, I'd like to have this done or that done, that board member cannot do anything about it. We are one of 5 people on this board. Each board member individually cannot do anything special for you. It has to be a group decision. 5 people have to agree. I think that's what it's getting to in that communication issue. It's not that you can't talk to us. Please don't do that.
And we do realize, correct, that it is staff to board and board to staff.
Yeah.
not voting.
Not
public,
talking about
not
community,
not-
but
not like okay.
we listen.
I'm not talking about that specific item.
Okay.
I'm overall.
In general.
There seems to be
Oh.
reading it one way out here, maybe reading it another way in here.
Mm-hmm.
Not you guys were listening, it's great, but if you're going to vote yes or vote no, the community probably would love to hear why. How did you get to this as a board?
This is a legal. Neola is a legal company. I mean, this has been a 13-month process to get to this point. I mean, I've seen stuff on Facebook and heard stuff that this has just come up in the last 5 or 6 months. This is 13-month process. How else would you determine this procedure is not intended to deny any staff member the right to appeal to the board on important matters through established procedures? How can that be interpreted any other way than they have the right? A staff member has the right to appeal to the board.
Well, I'm not here with an opinion. I'm just trying to open up some communication.
That seems like the number one thing on the thing tonight, and I don't see how that can be interpreted any other way.
Can I?
Well, Ryan, if you come up to me and talk to me at church, or talk to Mark at church, I can't answer you without getting in trouble. That would be a violation of my contract to talk to you.
Well, Mark, Mark is a community member.
Now, Mark's gonna have to talk to you.
Has that ever happened?
Never stopped you before?
But has this
never stopped
that
it
ever
before?
happened?
Wait.
Why are you stopping now? I'm just telling you.
Wait. Can I wait? Can I?
Hang on.
Hold on
Whoa,
just a second.
Go ahead.
So, like some people read the Constitution of the United States and they say, oh, look, my rights are protected. Some people read the Constitution of the United States and they're like, I hate this. It takes away my rights. Some people read the Bible and they think, oh, I've got a sword to go cut people down. Other people read the Bible and they think, I've got a shield that protects me. So I think what we've got here is I think you're right. I think people have read this and taken it as this is taking something away from me. And it is, I can tell you, because we have talked about this a lot, it is the full intent of the board to have a policy in place that protects our students, our teachers, and our school corporation. I don't read 3112 to say that a teacher can't talk to a board member. I read it as a teacher can't come to a board member expecting a policy answer right then, that it has to be the board.
That's an interpretation. That's yes.
Hundreds of people read it one way and one doesn't.
I don't know.
Why?
I mean, I can't imagine that it is okay. So going back to Ryan Lynn's point, this is a policy drafted by a company of lawyers who study educational law. If you look at the policies, many of them have IC, UC, FCC, constitutional provisions at the top. That means that there's a law that either requires this or a law that supports this.
And there's also amendments. Ms. Garlock talked about what's being amended from every other school corporation around here in the area.
All Garlock spoke on was South Harrison and New Albany.
I'm gonna sit down, guys.
Yeah, you might as well sit
You
down.
good? I think your minute's up. Okay, there you go. Start 2 minutes, whatever. Yeah.
Next up is PJ Toby.
All right, Pamela Toby, 7300 Raynell Court. All right, hello, my name is Pamela Toby. I have taught math and special ed for 11 years here at Lanesville. Earlier, you met my oldest daughter, Reagan, who is currently in Mr. Kramer's 3rd grade class. I also have a daughter, Lily, who is in 1st grade, and a son who will be attending Lanesville next year as a kindergartner. As I stand before you now, it is a concerned parent against some of the proposed bylaws you guys are wanting to approve later this evening. Early into Reagan's education, we noticed some deficits in phonemic awareness and her fluency in compared to her peers. So I reached out to her teachers at the time, and because as a teacher myself, I know how important early intervention is to bridge that gap. So kindergarten, first grade, we did countless hours of tutoring. We bridged that gap pretty quickly, and Reagan was actually able to receive a perfect score on the iLearn as a second grader. She's currently in third grade, reading at a fifth grade reading level as an 8-year-old. So she's pretty young. I cannot imagine the gains that we would have not been able to make if it wasn't for the countless hours that I was willing to put into her as a reader, and also that her teachers were willing to stay after and work with her. We also participate in after-school tutoring in music for piano and also art. She is a very gifted learner, but due to testing, she doesn't test as high ability. And so she's not able to participate in a lot of the enrichment programs that our school only offer for those high ability students. I need to nourish her as a learner, whether that is in the classroom in the thousands of books we have bought. Now she owns a Kindle, or the after school tutoring with art and piano. I have to fuel her somehow, because if not, then school's not going to be fun anymore. So we do participate in after school tutoring, but currently it states that that tutoring is only available in math and reading for her grade levels. So art and piano don't count. I'm willing to pay as much as possible because I value our teachers and the work that they do. Miss Perkins is amazing. Miss Hopkins is amazing. I will pay that to help her be the best version of herself. Also, as I said, 11 years as the school corporation, this is the only place I've taught. I love our staff and I value the work they do in the classroom with my students as a teacher, but also with my own kids. I could not imagine not valuing them. We start every year buying a gift off our teachers' Amazon wish list. They get something at Christmas, whether it's a hand-drawn letter or card, or they help me pick out whatever gift card their teacher they think they might like. They wrap every teacher appreciation gift, and they take great value in that. Or they deliver the corny gifts that I prep for their teachers, the "You're so the best teacher" for Valentine's Day, to get their teacher through yet another classroom party. But the big thing here is my kids take joy in it, and to take that off the table for the teachers when I know every ounce that these teachers put into it, I can't imagine that not being an option. Ms. Drexler probably has countless bracelets and necklaces from Lily. But I intend to continue to show my appreciation for these teachers. So taking teacher gifts off the table when my kids take great joy in it, and then also as a teacher myself, I know what these teachers are doing. And so if that's me sending in a soda, if that's me buying something off their classroom wish list, I feel like that shouldn't be taken off the table as a parent, because I know the effort that they put into it. So,
Miss Toby, quick question.
Yeah.
You say classroom gift list. So does a teacher have a list for things for the classroom, or they have a list that they give for their individual gifts?
like classroom. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
There's an
Amazon list list.
So not like a list of, hey, I want this.
No.
Okay.
So like headphones, I've sent in like extra expo markers. Like it's just stuff that's used in the classroom. Sometimes I just send in an Amazon gift card because it might be easier for the teacher to just use that and then purchase what they have. I know like Kramer used it to buy a few things this year, and then Miss Drexler also. But we've done it every year, and it's extra stuff that the kids turn around and get to use in class. So, but I know as a teacher how hard it is, and sending that extra little bit in helps, whether it's teacher appreciation or classroom parties or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure this.
I get it. But it had to be a board meeting to do it.
Next up is A Walk.
To say this. For the public. Suggestion. I'm picking all 200 something things. We're picking one thing.
My name is Abe Walk. I live at 1386 Creekstone Drive in Corydon, Indiana. For the purposes of this evening, my affiliation is only to my kids. I would like to talk about the policies that are proposed on changing the way that tutoring is allowed. So similar to what a lot of others have echoed tonight. I have some notes that I'll read off of so that I can keep on track and onto the 3-minute point. So I think everybody probably knows or is aware of my kids. They both have learning disabilities. Through the work of the teachers and the tutors, they have both been able to meet and exceed their academic standards, which helps them obviously just for school grades, but be able to play the sports that they want to play because there are academic standards implemented around sports. Tutors and the teachers have all put in a ton of time with our kids, and we're very grateful for that. And the idea of not having that avenue in a way that it is today is obviously very concerning to my family. So, Dr. App, you've talked a lot about what makes Lanesville special. My wife and I were in the Corydon School District, so obviously we had to put some consideration into coming here. And what we saw with the way the teachers, the staff, the parents, they all really foster a special relationship of communication. And we consider our tutors to be a symbiotic portion of that relationship. And our abilities to advocate for our kids, be active in their education, and really take notice if there's something wrong so we can step in any way that we can. And up until this point, tutoring has been the biggest influence on their ability to pass standardized testing. We were very concerned that they wouldn't pass standardized testing. I think in general, family's pretty intelligent. We suck at standardized tests. It's just not what we do. We're very bad at it. But through the teachers and the tutors and the one-on-one time that they got, they passed with flying colors, no problem. And obviously, them not passing has a very large impact on not only our family, but on the school and what they have to report out to the state. So, I guess my ask for the evening to the board would be to consider abstaining from some of the policies, voting on and implementing some of the policies that have been discussed tonight. Possibly consider setting up a committee of independent volunteers who could dig into some of these policies and bring to the board some proposed middle ground, if you will. I know that everything you're doing is being done in the best interest of the community and the liability concerns. I totally understand that. Just coming to you tonight as a parent who sees a lot of value in the Lanesville Community School and everything that they can offer. And I think that there's a lot of smart and very willing parents, both in this room and not in this room, that would be more than happy to sit down, talk through some ideas. And it's been said before, but in general, Lanesville's special because just because it's done at other schools doesn't mean it's right for the Lanesville schools. Thank you.
Next is Jessica again.
I also would like to address some of the policies and again, just echo the sentiments of I fully realize that the state mandates that we have certain policies. I get that. What we are asking is that you take note that these policies are, as Mr. Burbank said, quite cookie cutter. I have children in other school districts. I've read lots of other school district policies. They are not verbatim. They are not word for word as some of our counterparts. As far as the tutoring, like I have a child who her first grade teacher worked with her all summer to make sure that she stayed on track for that second grade jump in reading comprehension. I have 3 other students at this school who did not require that tutoring, who are on the opposite end. They're in the high ability group. But the fact that my teacher was willing to come in every week over the summer to make sure that my kiddo didn't fall behind was huge to me. To that note, we also have, as much as we want to talk about our high ability and our AP classes and things like that, we also currently have 8 periods of credit recovery in high school every day. 8 periods of students who come to class during the school day to recover their credits of classes that they did not pass. We currently have tutoring sessions that are being done in the elementary school. 10 kids that all have various needs, and they go to the library, and our teachers one teacher tries to help those 10 kids as best as they can, so that those elementary kids aren't in that credit recovery class, because we already have 8 periods. We don't have any more slots to put in kids who need credit recovery. As you said, like the cookie cutter, we are not those school corporations. I think that is one thing that makes us drastically different. We, as Lanesville Community Schools, I feel value our teachers, our staff, our families. And to keep our community school, all of those people that we value need to be a part of the decision making. And when, like they said, when we feel as a community, as a staff, as a parent, as a teacher, that those policies are not in our children's best interest or our teachers' best interest, we have to look at retaining these teachers, guys. Like Dr. Apple likes to tell me that teachers leaving is now the profession. Teachers are always going to leave. Like, so we need to retain the ones that we have and be able to attract the new ones that will best serve our students. I believe that was my timer.
The last is Angie Hood.
We can look at
I'm just going to kind of piggyback on just a few things that has already been said. But basically, I do have a couple questions because I couldn't hear back there. But as far as the Neola policy, Mr. Apple, are you the one that you said that is working on the policy, like striking out the things or making the changes, or was it you and the board together?
It was myself and the Neola representatives went through, and then you present it to the board. They've got full-time jobs. Some of them, they don't have the time.
Yeah, I know. This is just 3,000 and I've got a full-time job. So yeah, I know it's hard. Basically I'm kind of talking about the gift one, 3214. I was just wondering, why was that struck out about the board does recognize through that gift giving to professional staff members at some special holidays fits the spirit of the season and gift giving. Why was that striked out?
Because you've got a couple of situations there that you can create. You've got some kids, and we see it, and some of you teachers have seen it as well. Some kids will bring extravagant gifts. Some kids can't afford gifts. Some kids don't celebrate that holiday. You have all of these things, and so when that happens, you create a situation of inequity between kids potentially.
Okay, well, I just kind of researched that specific one, and South Harrison has it, Silver Creek has it, East Washington still has it. And again, from my research on trying to learn about Neola, because I don't really know a whole lot about it, a lot of their policies are canned policies. It has the templates. You go in, you strike out what, and it's supposed to be what best fits for your community. And so, like, that's why there's some of these policies that are in there in some schools, and some are not in there in other
And we've
schools.
got several policies that aren't in any of these that we have struck out
Right.
completely because we didn't need them.
Right. And so the ones that have been concerns today, I just like you all, I think it would be good that you would look at those again. And from reading, I've saw some schools have done public work sessions as they went through some of these things where the community can come in and watch everyone work on these policies and things like that. That was just one of the things I saw. And then also on tutoring, I don't know if it was mentioned, but in our contract, teacher contract, any tutoring that's required by the corporation is in tested grades 3 through 6 at the elementary level, and subjects of English, math, science at secondary level should be paid at a rate of $50 per hour. That leaves K2 out. That is your foundational time to get these kids learning. And so either when we renegotiate, we're probably going to need to, that is going to be something that we're going to need to be able to take care of our kiddos.
That would probably be a great time to amend that in the contract.
So I'm a 16-year veteran. I will tell you, I have tutored through my career and helped students, and I've done it for free sometimes because I know some families couldn't do it. And so, I mean, we are giving teachers, we want to see our kids succeed. But sometimes we feel like our hands are being tied behind our back. And we want to be able to get these kids and make them flourish so they go out into this world. That's it. Thank you.
Dr. Apple, correct me if I'm wrong, but the staff gifts, that does not stop parents from giving gifts to the students or to the classrooms. Is that correct?
You mean like
a wish list, or?
Yeah, if it's a classroom, deal, like we need, I don't know, Clorox wipes, that kind of stuff. That is not a gift. What it does is it prohibits me giving my classroom teacher,
a new iPad.
It's something like that. Yeah.
I'm hearing clarification.
A what?
Things and stuff.
That's a classroom.
That's a classroom.
That's not what
A what? The game for indoor recess would be a classroom thing. The rest of them would be individual gifts.
Does that mean the Amazon list that we push out at the beginning of the school year, that we can still have those out there?
Who makes those calls?
For your classroom?
Yes.
Yeah.
But then that's still a gift.
No, that's a classroom. That would be a class. That would be a classroom supply.
But would they then have to leave it if they left?
Yeah, that would be the classrooms.
So if I teach an hour out there, if it's less than, like in healthcare workers, we can't accept gifts unless it's like somebody brings a plate of food in or something like that. But you can't take a gift card for like $50. But if it's nominal amount.
Yeah.
No, that's like if I go to
Yeah.
But I can buy you a box of bagels for the nurses. Right. You can accept that. But that's why I'm saying it's not as nominal amount. Like I think an iPad is pretty great. But it's anything under $25 is not rather nominal amount. So that's
Could we
what
amend that to under $25?
Good going.
I'm okay with that.
Make you look at the amendments they're suggesting and then bring it back next month.
No, you're not on there.
And I'm not sure.
And then what is that gonna do? Like, I've had kids animate me stuff. Like, for Christmas, I had a kid make homemade candles, homemade lotion. And the fact that they handed it to me and they were so excited that they got to
Let's
take
clean
it.
it up a little bit.
I'm gonna question it
In
if I
the
say, no, I
specific
can't take that,
areas,
but I'm gonna
we're
get
not gonna clean up all 200.
Table 3214. I think we're on table 3214.
Let's table and clean up the ones
Yeah,
that they talked
3214 is, but that's
Then we'll come back
and 3112
with
and
some type of
4112, which is the same as
relook at that.
and 42.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Okay. The next item
And move on to the agenda.
is the proposal or the approval of proposed policies. The next item is approval for proposed policies, the 3000s and 4000s.
No, the next item is approval of additional appropriation.
Yeah, you're jumping
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Yeah.
We did 10
Okay,
already.
number
11.
10.
11.
11, adopt preliminary bond resolution.
Yeah, and what that is when we did our budget and turned it into Gateway and DLGF, there was a portion that was cut off of it. It was literally just lopped off. And so the money was in the budget. It wasn't in the appropriations part through Gateway and DLGF. So we just need to do that additional appropriation to reflect what the budget actually was. And so because it was cut off when they uploaded it, then it didn't show. So now we've got to do this to show that it was actually in the budget and the money's there, but it just will give the appropriation to spend money in operations if needed on those line items.
No, that's been approved.
10.
No, number 11.
That was it. 10 was approved.
We
as
did 10?
part of
Yeah,
the
we did.
consent.
Okay.
already did that one.
Yeah. So number 11.
We're on 11.
Okay.
Preliminary bond resolution.
What number 11 is, the preliminary bond resolution. It is part of the solar project that we have discussed multiple times. The resolution says notice is hereby given to the taxpayers of the school corporation known as Lanesville Community School Corporation. The Board of School Trustees of the school corporation will meet at Lanesville Community School Corporation Cafeteria, Lanesville, Indiana, at 7 o'clock local time on March the 18th, 2025, to consider the following additional appropriation of the bonds or bond which the board has determined to issue. The board considers such additional appropriation necessary to meet the need existing at the time. Appropriation is in the amount not to exceed $1.87 million from the proceeds of the bonds, including all original issues, premium, and all investments earning thereon, and thereon to be deposited in the school corporation's construction fund, Fund 2301, on account of the renovation of and improvements to school facilities, including the installation of a solar array and the purchase of equipment and technology, which is the project. The school corporation, including the incidental expenses necessary to be incurred in connection with the project and the issuance of bonds on account thereof. The funds to meet such additional appropriations are to be provided by the issuance of the sale of bonds by the school corporation. The foregoing appropriation is in addition to all appropriations provided for in the existing budget and tax levy, and need for such appropriation exists by reason of the inadequacy of the present buildings to provide necessary school facilities in the school corporation. Taxpayers of the school corporation appearing at said meeting shall have the right to be heard in respect to the additional appropriation. And then it's got dated, says 26th day of February 2025, and that's when it will be submitted.
Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, the approval to purchase of a mid-bus in the amount of $113,858.
Yeah, this mid bus is being purchased as an additional mid bus, and so it will increase that fleet to 4. It is not a replacement of any of the current mid buses. We know that we have a shortage of mid buses. We utilize them all the time. And so we are not looking for a replacement, but we are looking to add an additional, and it is in accordance with the bus replacement plan.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion, we approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, the approval for the Literacy Achievement Grant distribution.
And what you're giving here is just approval for Ms. Simler to pay the grant amount to people that qualify for that grant.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next is the second reading of the, we discussed this in the public session, but the second reading of the following proposed LCSC policies. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Now, I think we need to talk about that for a minute before we go ahead. What do y'all think?
Nope. Let's
Approve all the policies?
no. Let's
Table it, you're
Mhm.
saying? Wait a minute. I think we need specific ones that
Yeah.
you all want us to look at again and to reword. I don't think there's any that we would probably scratch. There might be, but if you would give us the numbers, I think Africa gave us quite a few. I think we've got them all, don't we? Yes, she can talk to me. That's a bunch of bull crap.
Well, we're gonna
Come here.
We're gonna. That's one of the ones we're gonna look at. That 31.
Yeah, that's why I go like it's not worded
don't
appropriately.
panic,
You don't
everybody.
understand it. We understand it, but you
Okay,
don't. So
it's
we'll
okay.
fix it so that you understand it.
But some of
Okay?
this stuff we've got
So
to
that's
pass.
the problem. I don't know.
We
But
gotta
yeah,
get
you
this
can
stuff
talk
taken
to
care
us.
So you have a motion.
Yeah, there's a motion to table so we can go over the specific ones that you had questions
We're going to
about.
motion all of them or just motion specific ones?
Well, I think you can't approve the whole.
We could pull.
Can you pull them
We'll
out?
pull
and
the
just
ones out. But the ones you had concerns about were the ones we heard the most.
Yeah,
I guess
so
is
it's
what we're
another
saying.
look about. Yeah.
And those are the ones we might just pull out of there and look at that.
Yeah.
And be able to put the other ones in to have us covered.
And then amend the
and
ones
then
that
amend
pull
as we
out.
go as we have to on that. Is that fair enough? Well, we're not one, but we'll. Yeah. Oh.
Good grief.
That's why we're going to table. Okay.
What's the motion then?
Let's table that. We'll table that. I get where you're coming from. I'm not disagreeing with you.
What's the motion then?
So we're going to table them all?
Let's table them all for now, okay? And then we'll go back and take a look at the ones you guys want to pull out. We'll rework them or scratch them or whatever, and then we'll bring it back up and we'll do the whole spiel.
Do I
Fair
have a
enough?
second on that? Do I have a second?
I'm making a motion, okay, to do that.
I'll second
Okay.
Okay, all those in,
I made the motion to table for now.
Sharon seconded it.
To table the entirety, all 3,000s,
Yes,
all
yes,
4,000s.
yes.
okay.
And then
all
we'll look
those in
at
favor?
them. We'll go.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. The next is the first reading of the proposed new policies, the 5,000s and 6,000s.
And there's nothing to vote on there.
Yeah.
No, it's just
gotta look
Yeah,
at it.
this is, we will get those in the next few days. Okay, the number 18 is approve the hiring of Rebecca Parr. Huh? We already did that in the consent.
We already did
Yeah.
those.
Approve the hiring of Rebecca Parr for special ed instructional assistant. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to
Do I have
hire
s-
Rebecca Parr as an instructional assistant. I'll second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Guys, first, got a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
AFCA.